The first time I got to my first job, it was very important for me to earn some money. If somebody had told me that you're going to be happy, you'll be super active, I would still ask, do you pay money or no? Right now, when we're hiring new people to our job, we're not just offering them salary, we're not just offering them financial compensation. That's really hard. It doesn't work. The people asking us about census, about satisfaction, about the remuneration here and now. And that is a trend as well. That is a trend that you have to consider as a financial industry. Companies without incomes, they have huge capitalization, billions of dollars. If you will take a look at the American market, at the European market, the company can have some income, but they have a lot of value. So how to do that, what to do with that, how to live with that, we don't have answer to that yet. The classical functions of money are changing. The function that I've got used to, the functions that you were taught to you, the main value, the essence of value is important. Why Tesla costs more than Volkswagen and Toyota together? I think that you will not be able to answer this question. If we will consider the world only as capitalistic world and the money and this function, it will not be able to answer these questions. As in money for saving money. If someone will give you the opportunity to invest for 5 years with some specific profit, would you invest it for 5 years in hryvnia? Okay, one person. Okay, that's not a lot of people. Okay, two people would invest in hryvnia, in dollars, in USD. Your savings for 20 years, 15 years. Will you give it to someone to get the dollars back in 20, 15 years? Are you ready to take down your savings to receive dollars in 15, 20 years? Okay, one person, two people. Okay, not a lot of people. Okay, that's not a lot of people. Okay, good then. There's a lot of problems, and we're definitely going to be mentioning them. We will speak about money in the industry, the overall trends, and that's why we've got the speakers. They all different from different industries with different experiences from different cities. And I'm really pleased to welcome our panel. Please welcome Dmytro Boroday, the Horizon Capital, 27 years on the market, more than $27 million of investment for more than 150 companies. He is the swimming champion. Maxim Slobodyanyuk. Please welcome the co-founder of iLogos Games Studio, the founder of the NIKA Tech family, serial entrepreneur. Can I tell you this? Why? Yeah, you can call me whatever you want. Okay, because a lot of people have seen him in the videos with Sharp, with this really nice car. Okay, so a lot of our next participants, Mykola Shapovalov, QPDigital, investment foundation in Ukraine that has been the most successful according to the Live 99 in 2020. Vitaly Sedler, the CEO and co-founder of Intellias company, the president of Ukrainian IT Association in 2020 up till 2020 up till now. And Dmytro Zozulia, MHP, the advisor to the head of the board, Yuri Kosyuk. They changed the person that not Dmytro's photo. No, that you were younger than the future. I was speaking about the trends, so that's the trends about the future. Okay, dear friends, 18 months ago, we have gone through that. It was really. In this month, have your companies earned more than you planned or no? More or less, then why? Just to be very brief and just to answer this question, you've had more beef than you've had for the pandemic. We didn't plan anything from pandemic, so we earned as much as we earned. But you've had this pandemic, then we have also have the businesses closed. We have mixed up our relations, our logistics. So basically, you don't have planning for the companies, which are what? Well, you can plan. In investment businesses, you can plan as much as you want. But when you're facing the turbulence, the uncertainty that has never been done before, you can continue planning or you can just stop planning. So that is why we've let the processes go, because we didn't know how much should we reserve for some kind of risk strategy with some kind of profitability, and we planned nothing. We planned nothing on the investment strategy. And thinking about how much our businesses will earn, so more than that, we have never planned anything about that. Okay, Maxim, so I will just clarify that. Are you happy that the pandemic happened, that these conditions have happened that brought you to the new opportunities? I'm always satisfied with everything. Okay, Maxim is always satisfied with everything. That is the key to success. Okay, the colleagues, what did you do? Uh, we have two Dmitris here at the panel, but I think I'll start answering that. So if we speak about the MHP altogether, then I think that this year for MHP was very successful. But speaking about those activities that we would like to talk today, investment, we have invested much more than we planned 18 months ago. So we had a lot of different investment projects, and we're going to discuss that today. Okay, Dmytro, why that has happened? You know, that was a very uncertain story, but it's very important for the big businesses not to lose money. You have had a lot, you don't want to risk, there is a huge business, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. So why would you risk and invest? Because there are different strategies. You can wait for it. Some will die out for businesses. There will be some places new on the market. Why have you decided to invest? Why would you do that? The question is, how do you see yourself? We speak about the MHP as a commodity company, the poultry producer. So we have overwon everyone who we could. And basically, we could have stopped at this point as well. But then it was like 20 months or like 2 years ago, we have decided that we will transform our company and we would like to change to the culinary company, but this is to the cooking company, but this is something that we have never been before. So this is the way for us to take the new niche. Okay, Dmytro, what's about you in Horizon? And have you paid up the good bonuses for people? Yes, I cannot comment upon that, but we are earning money by increasing the capitalization of our equities and understanding that our fund is mostly work with tech startups. So most of the 50% of our investment is in IT and technological company, and then maybe you have noticed that the pandemic has accelerated the technological development and technological agenda. So basically, then it's the growth of this company has been only streaming up. Yeah. Okay, Vitaly, what's about you? What's about you? I might be mistaken because basically there is an MHP. How do you do that? And so we have never planned our activities, we planned it. And when we had the pandemic coming from, we have understand that it's a really terrible situation for the economy and for our businesses. And the plans that we have planned for ourselves were really pessimistic. But basically, this year and a half, when we have gone through this, we have earned even more than we've had in our plans, and we're really happy about that. And the plans that we have been building up for every quarter, every half a year, and we're reshaping it every year, because we see that the reality is much more optimistic than we could have thought for our businesses, for IT services. In the recent 12 months, everything is much more optimistic. Yes, we had some periods where it wasn't clear for us, when there was an uncertainty for us, and that was kind of strange. But right now, we have supported this. We have basically increased the market, so everything is quite good. Okay, I hope that someone is going to say something bad, but I only have my hopes for you. Yeah, everything's bad, everything's great. No, but hi everyone. I think that I would support the point of view of Horizon, because we're also investing into the technological startups, and I know that the pandemic has developed them, and we now have more and more global money, because basically we're now supporting their technology, and more and more money have been increased into the edge capital. and the capitalization of the companies has grown. And you can take a look that for the EC sentiment index, and you can see it has shown the growth by 30. And if we will have the same founders, the same technologies, and the startup would only cost 5 million or 10 millions, then right now in a year started to cost 30% more. That is a very positive sign, because like if you have this investment, then it grows by 15% and you will earn more. So I'm not very skeptical, but okay, but it's an inflation. But if an inflation, if you will correct it to inflation, then no, inflation is not that huge as it used to be, as the growth was. So as the capitalization was, so even if you take a look at Y Combinator, so it has already, without the traction or, and it would one that would head to the Y Combinator, and so we had the 6 or 7 millions evaluated. So right now it gives us the understanding that during the pandemic, the talents cost even more. I don't think it's just about inflation solely, but there's also about the shift of the paradigm of how much the technological businesses cost right now, how much they are worth, and how important it is right now to find your talents and the opportunity to use the talents. Okay, dear colleagues, Nikolay was really honest with that, because he will help to buy the companies much more expensive. I think that will add up to 15-20% up to the company's worth. But thank you very much for saying the truth. Okay, so what we wanted to talk about the trends. We talked about the trends yesterday. We had Andriy Dligach today. We had Dominic Piotr talking today. We have basically the questions on trends, but I would like to ask our panelists about the trends, because they have the specific experience. They've got this experience through their businesses. There is a Japanese saying that says, if the tide is high, then the tide is going to both support the big ships and small ships. So we have to understand what it is that's going on, where the movement is, what are the trends that we see in our panelists. So I think I would like to talk about that in trends as well, the trends that who deal with you, the trends that are influencing you and influencing your companies. And okay, Maxim, I'm not going to tell you something that you can read about. I'm going to tell you what we are investing into, what we are considering for ourselves. The first trend, as far as I'm working with the gaming industry, and I'm not games, video games. In the pandemic, that was the sum up of the two crises. Well, first of all, the crisis, they've always played, and they're always, during the crisis, people play games more. This is the law of it. I've started this business in 2006, and I do recall how in 2008 everything really grown. You know, the increase of entertainment trends and in gaming trends, it has been really felt. And the self-isolation has added up to that. So the mobile market of the game has increased dramatically. The second trend that I see right now, the one that we are now currently getting to our investment, what are the smart investment? We're buying the businesses, and as a strategical partners, we're helping them to grow faster. What do you mean faster? For example, if they have grown 30 or 40% a year, we're starting them to grow 3 or by 4% more. Why? Because we are investing only those that we understand how to do, only those where we can know how to help. The trends are as follows. The clients do not really care where they're going to buy their services from. Whether they buy that from the vendor that is located on the neighboring street or the one that is located over the ocean. It's about the IT outsourcing, it's about the different types of outsourcing services that you can provide in marketing, or everything that we are considering. I'll tell you that all of the companies that have been working on outsourcing, not just with the IT sector, that all have grown by 3.5 times in our portfolio just. So I think that this trend, 3.5 in 2 years, in year and a half. So those are the two trends that we have felt, that we have seen, that we have felt, and please catch up with your chances. Right now, all of the investors, I have never seen that investors would be uh, really, really regretting something. So I also wanted to sell. It's not a bubble. It's not a bubble. So if you grow in four multiplicators a year, can we invest with you? Can you invest with us? Well, it depends on. It depends. No, I'm from the side of Dmytro. I'm asking. Like we're way too small for Dmytro because they have the fund that um, is targeting smaller companies, smaller sized companies, but that fund is not quite interesting with us. The fund that we are interested in, we're not that big yet, just for us to give them the entrance on the second round. So yes, we know Kostya, Vasily well, so I think we will communicate and we will collaborate further on. But what is the concept of the smart investment? When we buy in our share, we're working for it. It's not just like we're buying a share and we are just the passengers on the back seat doing nothing about it. We're not just like the pay and pray thing. So yeah, it was important to note that you have to pay for that money, you have to work for that money. Yes, and we're working on that. We're working on that significantly to have this good result in place. Yes? Okay, good. So gaming and outsourcing altogether and smart investment to the companies that need smart money, that need competences, that can grow, that have potential to grow. As a trend, let us then identify the growth of entertainment, I mean like the entertainment industry overall, in online. And the second trend would be the amount of orders through the ocean. If we're speaking about the Western markets, that's something that has been growing. Okay, that works out. Okay, Vitaly. So I think that you would have the same thing if you speak about the second trend. Yes, what we can see that in the trends, and I would even broaden it up a bit. So if we're speaking about our clients who are ordering more from us because they don't really care what they would like to order from Hungary, from Ukraine, from Germany. So the very same thing for IT outsourcing companies. It's not that much. It's not that doesn't matter where our developer is located. If, for example, if we had 5 locations in Ukraine, so right now we're hiring people from around Ukraine in every city of Ukraine, small or big, that doesn't really matter, because we understand that you can work in remote regime with every developer all over the world. Moreover, we don't really care if those developers are in Ukraine. We're searching for talents in Armenia, in Georgia, in Caucasus, and we're looking for people in Baltics. We're looking for people in Balkans. So basically, we're building a platform that is going to unite the clients and engineers. We're going to combine you wherever you're located. So basically, tech-wise, everything is built up in the best way. Throughout the times of the pandemic, we'll learn how to work remotely, we'll learn how to work with different locations and different cultures, and thus for the IT service company of Ukraine, there are a broader opportunity to work on that than we used to have that, which is a very nice and positive trend for those businesses. So, okay, the flat world. Yeah, but that's good. Okay, what else is going on with you? What can you share with us? Well, Maxim has said about the entertainment, and I would speak about media overall, media and entertainment. This is something that is developed in the fastest pace during pandemic. But the overall trend is that the digital transformation has accelerated during the pandemic. All of the businesses, they understand that there are some certain risks, for example, like the pandemic risks, and the world will stop in a moment. And you have to work with this risk through digital solutions. You have to change your business models for them to be more online, more in digital world. So most of the money that has been printed and dedicated in the world, the biggest part of it is invested into the digital transformation, into IT. So this is the overall trend for the acceleration of the digital transformation and increasing of the demand for engineering and development. So can you understand the long term of this trend? It has its scale, its geography, its duration. So this amount of money dedicated to the digital transformation, how long will it take? 2 years, 5 years? Oh, this is going to be a constant thing for the future. I think it's not a short-term trend. It's not about half a year or year. I think I would even say, again, we are discussing, we are putting up on different analytics from different agencies that prepare those data for us. And what we have seen, the main consensus that there's going to be, a mid-term, long-term trend, 5, 7+ years. We see that the digital transformation will play an important part in the development of global economy. Okay, good. Thank you. Dmytro, for MHP, what are the trends that you see? Because we see that the food tech, that's interesting. What else? What do you think about that? You've started with food tech, so I'm going to start from the very end. We see that the food tech is rising as the sector in this country. What does the food tech mean? This is the combination of the products, services, and technologies that directly or indirectly influence the way we eat. The second trend is about the time, and I do believe that it's not a secret to any one of you that the time is valued. The time becomes more and more valuable, and basically, whatever we eat and the way we eat has an important potential of giving us more free time. And the third thing is that I'm going to say is the overall relations and our opinions towards money. Because for more and more times I hear from different types of entrepreneurs that they're not really interested in money. Give us the expertise, give us the expertise, give us the expertise in your sector, give us the knowledge, give us your operational expertise, help us to become more effective, help us with logistics, and that's so people have a lot of money, but any kind of money is not going to be provided to you. Well, people are going to give money for the people who have real cool resolution, real cool money, they're real cool product. They're really, really selective for all the people that they would attract their money from. So the food tech resolves the issues of not nutrition but time. Food tech resolves the problem of time and energy. Because there's a lot of things connected to food. First of all, how do we feel about ourselves, up till the issues with mental health, about where I'm going to eat today, how I'm going to cook today, I'm tired of eating all the same thing, so on and so forth. Basically, food is not just about food itself. It's for a longest period of time not about food. I think half of people has already agreed to this moment that this question, what do we have for the dinner today, it exists, and it's something that bothers people. Dmytro, what about Horizon? What about Horizon? What is it that you see in Horizon? I know that in Horizon you're responsible for Industry 4.0. You're responsible for the IT technology. So do you have some shifts? You're buying more and more projects, not in the real sector of industry, but in virtual economy. So you're still holding up to balances. Now, we're shifting to the technological companies, and we have seen a lot of trends. We have seen a lot of trends that have been accelerated throughout this time. So, the new class of equities are being created, like cryptocurrencies. They have new industries created, the one that hasn't been existent 5 years ago. But the main trend, the mega trend that we had, is that the world accelerates. The world accelerates. And the adaptation of technology accelerates to all sectors of the world as well. We can see that as there's the customers, but from the side of investors, it's even a faster pace, and the speed of adaptation is even faster. What did the pandemic give us? Because we are pretty cool investors for actives to buy equities in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine. So the path that the e-commerce has gone through in the recent year, that is something that used to be 5 years on adopt of the technology. So we had in 3 months the shift of 5-year horizons. So in some of the industries, they have a leap in their growth that we haven't seen in the recent decades. I think you all know Zoom and the communication platform. Before that, the companies to implement these elements of the remote work, they needed around a year and a half to do that. In the pandemic, the average speed of engaging this mechanism, improving these documents, was up till a couple of days. You either would introduce that and exist as a business, or you go into bankruptcy and go into the total downfall of all of your indicators. So this is something that we have seen. The speed and the deepness of the technological adaptation. This is something that we see in all of the directions, in B2B and B2C businesses. What has been very interesting and what has been quite clear and quite seen in the industries when the world has changed, when the lockdown was imposed, when the borders were closed, the most interesting thing would be for us to follow these moments right now when the world is being open right now, when the offline has got back to our lives. It is interesting to know what is the part of those changes, of those accelerated breakthroughs that happened, what will stay with us. And we are really happy to say that the world is not going behind. E-commerce hasn't downfall back to the level of 2019. People continue buying online. The level of the delivery service, people have never gone back to restaurants because the delivery sector is continuing to exist. Even though the travel sector has restored and you can already go to the business trips, but most of the calls in businesses are still held in Zoom. And that is their really full-scale trends. And for us, as for investors, we see a lot of opportunities with that. And moreover, we see a lot of opportunities in that for Ukraine, because we believe that Ukraine as a country, as an IT sector, will be the net beneficiary for this because of this change. Of course, we have struggled with something was really complicated for us, but we considering the potential that Ukraine has, considering the quality of talents that Ukraine has, we have a lot of opportunity in front of us. Right now, it's up to each and every one of us and entrepreneurs are first to use these opportunities that the new world paradigm has given us. Okay, optimistic, Mykola? I know that your colleagues in some way with Dmytro, maybe even a competitor. So what do you see in the main trends? Well, okay, I'll try to be very fast and maybe trying to sum up the trends. The first trend is about the startups market, not investors market. So all of the funds are going to be struggling to get the best startup. That doesn't really matter where you are, in Ukraine, in California, or whatever that is in the world. We have seen that already. We have seen that overall receipts are growing. The equities and funds are being consolidated to get into some really good deed with a good traction for the Y Combinator alumni. That's all already sold. So the first thing about that. The second is about the virtual world, Zoom conferences, VR, AR, something that is being developed really actively throughout the pandemic. It also influences the overall shift of the investments. You know that we can be in Ukraine, we can be operating in the global markets. And from out of our investments in Ukraine, in Ukrainian teams, of course, we have know that the Ukrainian teams are not registered in Ukraine, but 80% of the team are being here and even more. And they're not only working in the Ukrainian markets. You can take a look at our guys in this startup alleys. You can talk about their back traction. So the people don't have borders at all. By the way, I do believe that Unit City is a good example how you can relocate these people who will be providing, creating some really good products with high marginality abroad. The third trend that we have seen and we have outlined for ourselves is, well, I would believe that, fighting for talents, I've already said that, but I think that is becoming more and more crucial. And in this fight,
Многие молодые ребята, они выезжают из страны, то, о чем говорил.
A lot of young people are leaving the country, what Vasily has mentioned at the start, and the different types of foundations and the investment funds, they're going to other different elegant solutions, something that NIKA family does that works more about the startup studio, venture studio. This is a lot of examples like that. And according to the different research, is a much better construct for Europe overall, understanding the risks tolerance that Europe has or America has. Unfortunately, we're not really that ready to take the risks, especially for these investors who would like to invest into high risky stories. And this example, when the studio goes to the markets and not only working with the investment, but also working with education tech, and they're building up the framework, and they're having this support of the talents from 0 to 1, because they're teaching them what they must have learned from the very beginning. It's a very good example when the startup studios are dealing with training up the entrepreneurs, training up good managers, and setting out the good working businesses to the world in collaboration with investors in any kind of other shape. I think that's trend number 3 is the growth in the eastern region, the growth of that kind of the studios that will be bringing and educating their own entrepreneurs, and they will be tying up their equity to the businesses. We have also decided that we're going to have a separate line in our studio. We're going to be developing the startup studio, and I'm sure that we will see some good results up till the end of the year. Thank you. Okay, I would like to have a survey right now, and we will discuss it with our participants in the end. The survey will be like that. Can you please ask it to you? So please, you can use it with your mobile phones. You can use your smartphones with QR code, and we will ask you to answer this question. So there are some number of the key resources that we have grouped like that. The money, finding, ideas, so knowledge, talents, ecosystems. So basically something that helps it all to work. I would like to ask you during our panels, we will take a look at our panel at the end to range these resources from the one that are for in priority of the most important and valuable as of now. Most important goes first. Most important go first. If you have no problems with something, press it the last. You can press vote. You can choose if it will be something wrong, then you can rearrange it as you believe as it should be. Then you will see the results. And we will actually discuss those results then. While you're voting, there is the second part that considers story, because we have talked about trends, and a lot of people have a different vision on trends. There are some global trends, there are some micro things, and thank you very much for our speakers that you're sharing that with us. But there are some stories that come out of those trends, and those are the real cases that no one talks about. And I would like to ask our speakers, whatever order you would like to do. Case that comes from a trend. You have a story, you have a small or a big trend, you've used the trend and you've lost them some money, or earned some money, or earned something else. If that will be funny, I think that it will be even better. Who would like to do that? Who would like to do that? Micro stories or a long story, if you would like to take that. Dmytro, you would like to start? Yes, I can start, but I wanted to tell the Intellias story but of our portfolio company, but I think that Vitaly can tell it better. But what are the trends? So basically, the accelerating of all of the processes and the borders that are being taken down. I think that Ukraine is full of their stories, and they have appeared more frequently in the recent years when the global businesses and unicorns have started to appear in Ukraine as well. And one of those cases that we are really proud of, and we're really happy that we have invested into this company, but they're not that public in Ukraine as it might have seemed, this the GG company. I don't know if everyone heard of this. Gigi. They Google it well right now. No one does. Can you raise your hand who knows about this company? Okay, that's quite a lot of people. So basically, this is a Ukrainian company, the IT product company, the company that has been developing the biggest classified in Africa. The classified, I think that is, that this is like the marketplace for announcement like OLX that creates in Ukraine. That they have seen a good opportunity to create a good product from Ukraine to the African markets. They've had competition there. They had some global players there. They had some funding there. We had the Naspers group there and other groups as well. They had millions of budget, but they've seen an inefficiency that was in the markets, and they've understood how they can work it out. So the story was like that. There was a story of a real good, talented, entrepreneurial guys who've made a really good project and scaled it up in the markets. In 4 years, they have become the leading position at the Nigeria markets. That was 200 million population. They have become better than OLX. That also they've had an they have bought their equities in the African countries in 2020. Right now, they're presented at 5 African markets, 4 million population, more than 10 million users, more than 150,000 African entrepreneurs, mom and pop shops that use GG to use their services, to sell their services, and it all has been done in 6 years. And I can say that they had a very good access to the financial resources, as the other competitors had, the one that have been present in Africa by that point of time. What is it about? It's about the flat world, or yes, it's about the flat world, but it's about that you should not be there in this location to see the idea, to see the opportunity, to use it. And why it worked out for them? Because they've had the best execution. So they've had, from the idea to implementation, they've done it their best. And they did it not because of the brand name that they never had, but they won out not because of this multi-million budget. They did it because they had a better execution. That's first thing. But another thing is that also they've got into the right trend. I don't know that you would see this in the traditional industry. That would be really hard. They're playing in the e-commerce market. So there is certain structural trend that there is the demand from African entrepreneurs that it's not enough for them to sell their products only to their villagers. They want to go online. The threshold to get online is very high, but GG as a platform take it down. So this combination, the good product and in the right industry with the right goals, it gives fantastic results. Okay, good, thank you. Dear friends, don't forget we have Telegram boards. Please send us the questions, and I'm going to ask your questions throughout the panels. If we'll have some time, we will have it in the end. So, okay, who would like to do the next case, and what is it about? What are the trends that will be interesting for all of us? Yes, of course you can use your trend because, like, okay, we have both the guys who are working in Africa. That's cool, but like, I would like to hear stories how you lost the money. Okay, we'll do that. So, by the way, a good trend as well. Everyone has forgotten about that. Before that, the investors were really eager to have some money. Do you remember that time? When that was like that. So right now, the investors are also following the money, but the idea of making money has changed completely from net present value to the upside. So it's always about the formula of the big capitalization of the company, what investors earned on. It has been made of 4 components. First of all, what is the biggest capitalization that you have? So the growing markets. The second thing was you're growing inside the market. The second was the upside of you. Your upside on this market has to constantly grow. There was the fourth moment, your unit economy has to be positive as well. So you have to have some income as well. But if we'll take a look at Uber and other company, then this fourth moment has been slightly changing. It's not that much of important anymore. So basically out of this trend, what did we have? Our case, in 2016, we have closed one of our departments that was developing our own game, our own products. We had already had 16 million players, and we have caught up to $1 million of income a month. Why did we close it down, and how fast we have closed it down? We have closed it overnight because the global system that has sold the players to each and every one. So how do we buy them on Facebook? The global system has changed their game rules overnight. We had needed, we could have got, for the million that we've invested, we should have had 1,300,000. But it was, even in the best case, it was only 700,000 that we would return on the 1 million invested. Out of all of that, how did that trend was reflected on the markets? In the unit economy, the companies as ours, we only play that when it is positive for us. But basically, we're still buying a lot of players in the world, and the price per player is good significance for that. It has increased by 20 in the recent years. Why? Why? Because this player is being hunted by the public companies as Disney, as Electronic Arts. They are the captivates. They really have to show the growth from year to year, and it is going to be profitable for them to buy even if they're going to lose some money. So you're not going to play with them in unit economy. How can we win them over? Last week, we have had some guys visiting us. I'm not going to tell you what their names were. They have a gaming company and they have had the 1 billion as EBITDA. No, that's not a casino. That's not a public. It's a private company. They have earned their they've had their just income, just their profit, $1 billion. And I just wanted for everyone to forget what I also wanted to say. In 2006, we have started the iLogos. iLogos was the service provider at the very beginning. Right now, we're the solution provider. What does that mean for us? We have the big producers like Disney, Electronics Arts, but we're just like McKinsey, but in gaming. We're doing some solutions. We're resolving their problems for these big companies. And yes, we have one of the metrics that we're tracking. And up till 2019, we have been tracking on how many players have uploaded the games that we have created. And but by the end of 2019, this number was 700 million downloads. And just a month ago, we have done a countdown that was 1.5 billions of downloads of the games that we've did. So in 2 years, the amount of downloads has been higher. So the people say that we have increased by 10 times. No, that's not interesting. That's much more interesting to get the big figure. It's gaming. Yes, that's mobile games, mobile gaming. Okay, thank you. Good. Okay, Vitaly, what is about you? Do you have an interesting case? Or because right now we have this leader of 1 million overnight. There was minus million, as far as I understand. Yes, I think that we will not have these cases. I hope we will not have those cases in our history. But I will comment upon the trend, the new trend that we currently have seen. Intellias has go to an MLA market. And if, for example, 2 years ago, the Ukrainian SMEs would want to trade, we know all these problems with the management. No one really wants to sell anything. They want to develop on their own. But what we have seen now, right now, we see this as a paradox. There is a huge demand for these services. There is a huge demand for the IT service businesses to grow. But there are some companies that are ready to sell. Why? The answer is that together with a huge demand, we also have the huge demand for the engineers. We don't have enough talents. So we have the cost base growing, the salaries are growing. So there is the big problems for the small and medium companies to manage their marginality and to hold on their margins on the good levels. And the founders are going to be, they're scared of this situation, and they're starting the better conversations with buyers, and they're looking for some of the synergic mergers or acquisitions that will work out in place. So this is the trends that we have seen. I really like this trend because we are included into this market. We're buying companies. We have engaged into this process. There's a lot of people we can talk to about that, and we're hoping till the moment when our company is going to be working on that. And we have seen that in our companies, and I know that there are other IT service companies are on the market who are very optimistic about merging or buying some new companies. So that's the story that we had. So there is dozens of companies that were really ready to talk to us. There are really good and nice multiplicators, animators, and the good situation. So yeah, consolidation of the market, you would say. Yes, that is the consolidation of the market. I would say yes, that's consolidation for not for the mid, but the big and large businesses. That is a good situation for SMEs. It's once again about some additional opportunities to hold the capitalization that they have and to join slightly bigger companies and to have the good exit or now or slightly later. Okay, good. Dmytro, what's about you in MHP? For us in MHP, everything is very good and very interesting. Speaking about investment, then we have to understand as well that in our transformational path, we're doing very different investment. So we can buy both the producer of wheel, or we can also buy some kind of local retail just to buy it as a brick and mortar. So, and we have had this following those trends, we have this foods company that combines those all of those trends that I have mentioned as well. So they are all combined together. This is the company that deals with restaurants. They're only dealing with restaurants that only work for delivery base. So there are no. We're speaking about the time. Who's going to be the main customers? The customers are going to be the people who do not want to spend some time to get there, to take a sit in a nice place, who just want to eat something by continuing working. That's one story. The second story is, why did they come up to us? They decided to come up to us not for the money, but because they came to us and said, okay, look at that, we have a task, and this task has never been resolved by anyone else in this market, in this country. This task is very close to you, and you turn into the food company, and it seems that you should know how to do that. That was a challenge for us as well. So we started to be on the same boat together. We started to learn how we can do that, and we started to learn how we can supply them with those companies that are needed to them. And as a result, that was the case. And this case, I think that there was the basis for us to become the food tech investors, because that was basically the first technological company, not the traditional businesses that MHP has invested into. Our conversation has started a year and a half ago, so this is 18 months that you have asked us about from the very beginning. At the very beginning, at the very start, when we have had this conversation, one of the main indicators and metrics would be 2.5 thousand orders a month. Right now, this company has grown basically by 30, and that has happened here in this country. This is something that can be possible, that something can be tangible, and those are the people who came and who got the real money locally from the local investor. So I think that people sitting in the audience, does anyone use the delivery services? Just once, if you had ever ordered. Who knows what foods is? You see, not that many people have a sense. Foods, yes, the Ukrainian company, yes, yes, really. That's the thing, is that most of the people who have raised their hands, they have been ordering food in their company even without knowing that this is this company. The thing is that they have found this kind of model, and they find this kind of communication with the external world, that even in the end you're not aware who you are communicating in the end. Okay, so this is the story that we can do it inside. There's no need to go outside. So, big market, 40 million buyers, that's very good. We have our internal cool experts, we have the corporate experts, and this works. And you shouldn't find your truth abroad. Well, this is part of the message. I am sure that Ukraine is a great starting ground for the international expansion. But we have Ukrainian investors on this way. We have already build up our ecosystem. There's another trend that has been outlined at this panel, but I know that there is a full stream to that. That's investments who are supporting the good fuels for the successful start of this country. Okay, thank you. Mykola, your case. No, everything is very good. We have some feedback from people. Okay. Okay, our case is very close to something that we have already discussed today. So at the very beginning, we have had strong beliefs and strong faith about the high quality IT services in Ukraine. And we continue to believe that we have the engineers that can do global products, that can work in the global teams, that we have those big service teams that like EPAM at Intellias. There are smaller teams who need to survive and who are starting to work in some certain domain like cash learning or medtech or other sectors. And then there's also they have a lot of managers and projects, and in the last year we have started to work with the small service companies, and out of our portfolios, 4 investments that have been made, they have been from service to products. So people have had some money and expertise at the very beginning and the support from the foundation in order to make this next step to start from the services to a more marginal story and to create a product that you can be more profitable for you. I think, well, I will speak about the positive trend as well. The only team that was in Y Combinator during winter was the Datrix company that is working on machine learning and the low code systems. That is a very popular direction that grows 25-30% a year and is going to be growing furthermore. We have got started to work with them half a year before they got to acceleration, and they now have got, after the acceleration, got the next investment round, and now they're going to be presenting themselves in the international arena, and they're starting to collaborate with the big banks already. So I think that with my example and with my case, I would like to say that once again that the people who are sitting here, they are the creative IT class, the ones that are currently working on some certain teams, and you have all of the opportunities to launch your products. It is important to have the good knowledge of how you can apply to Y Combinator or to the granting systems. I know that they've had discussions about that as well for the experts, because the market is huge. And you have to do the pilot, you have to do the product. There's a lot of market that will help you to do that. So just do that. We have a lot of examples to do that, and we will support this idea. So our country is like an ecosystem. Ukrainian investors, Ukrainian companies, and it works. Our country as ecosystem. There's something that we've heard from Dmytro, something that we heard from Horizon, something that we heard from each and every one of you. Okay. Yes, difference. Let us take a look at the results of our survey. What it is that we are lacking? What is the biggest deficiency? What should we focus on? What should we focus on? Because the problems is about the opportunity. Okay. Okay, this is I will take a broader look. Okay, so more or less the same results. Okay, talents. The second place will be for knowledge and ideas, ecosystems, and funding. And funding, is the last position. So this is something that we have. Okay, would you reflect on that? Why so? And what are the opportunities? I think that's going to be our final part right now. So why do you think this is like this? Why the money are in the end? Where ecosystem is in the end, by the way? That's very interesting as well. Why we understood that we need knowledge, and that's good. And what are the opportunities then we have? And what are the things about having talents and deficiency? Okay, can you comment on this survey? And maybe that's the overall outcome for the audience. Why should we be going to? And why should we work in the next 3-5 years? Well, can we think about that? Yes, of course. Well, I believe that, I think that, the selection of people who came to the investment sector, it could not have been any other selection, any other choice, because, ecosystem, why it's on the almost last slice, because basically the ecosystem in Ukraine, the ecosystem was only being built in Ukraine. So something that in the US or in Europe is already there, is already built by decades, when there is already providing added value, is only being built here. Well, here right now, where we are today in Unit City. So, something that is not that clear is in the end. Why money take the fifth position? I don't understand. Okay, that is quite clear. Ecosystem is not clear, but the world funding is clear. At the position number 5, I don't know, maybe because no one has tried to get some money. Because, it's not that hard to get some money, but it's not that easy to get some money. To get not a lot of money, then it's okay. But I don't think that it's about not a big amount of money. But, to apply for the bigger loan, that's a whole process. Ideas, I would agree to that, but I would actually put them slightly lower, because if you have the strategy, you have taken something for the most developed markets, and then to start it up and the less developed market. We have this Rocket Internet company, maybe you have heard, they had a strategy. They launched the clones at these less developed markets, and they have very successful. Knowledge, I would put that on the second place as well. Knowledge is everything right now. Basically, and the partners, the knowledge is important. You'll need some partners to support you on the pathway that you're heading to as well. Talents, yes, one of our businesses, iLogos, the company has grown by 100%. The company that works with the computer games, the company that is a service provider. And 30 to hire 30 talents a month is really hard right now. It's really hard right now. And we haven't continued with the plan of growth. We're not the really big one, but the company is for 700 people. They have the same problems, even though they have twice as more recruiters there. And I would like to add up to that as well. The big insight that we haven't identified somehow is that Google is coming to Ukrainian markets, directly hiring the developers here. Before that, it wasn't felt that much. But when now I have 5 people who I know who are professionals in machine learning, and this is a super trendy direction, they already started to work directly with Google, not only based in Kiev, not only based here in the office, they're working from home. And that's okay. I think that is something interesting. Um, I think that it's very good that we're so open, but on the other hand, it is something that is very threatening. Okay, I have 2 representatives of venture funds, Dmytro and Nikolay. Money is on the last place. Okay, we have been some people manipulating the first place for money. Okay, good. So, okay, money are at position number 4. They used to be at position number 5. How can you survive if money is not that much of important resource for the entrepreneurs? It's not a deficiency resource. So this is a question about talents, education, invest into the schools. Or university, should we set out the educational programs there? I know that you can offer something instead of money, but this is your key competence. What are you going to do with that? Dmytro, Nikolay? The results are quite clear for me because basically I think that this is, you have to treat money like that because money are an important basic factor for the success of the company, but that's not a key factor for the company's success. We even had this moment in the in case of the investment, the Self Bank, when they have raised the venture fund for $100 billion. They had a very nice philosophy. They wanted to say the unlimited amount of money for the teams, for the prospective products. And at the same time, they will just win out the markets. And the idea behind that was that by taking the money, we can cover some inefficiency. So they had some success stories, but they had a lot of fails as well. So basically, that was a good lesson for all of the investment community, for all of the investors all over the world, that first of all, you have to consider the effectiveness of the business for the unit economy, for the product, for the idea, and the money will not able to buy you up the inefficiency of your work. So the conclusion that I would like to opt to, and maybe there will be a call out to some of you, that there was no better time. There was no better time to try out something and to launch something new. If you have talent, if you have idea, then you will find the resources for that. You will be able to find the resources for that all the time. You'll be able to find it on your own. You know, the startups can continue and raising. You know, there's angel resources, angel investment. There are the early investors. There are the equity investors as we are. So money is not that kind of deficiency for success. What is in deficiency is your idea. You shouldn't just make the startups. I believe that right now there is this opportunity to launch some new products in the framework of the bigger corporations is also increased. All of the companies, they understand that they should be more innovative. Thus, it means that the internal entrepreneurship, well, at least in our portfolio, in our company, we do support that and we're ready to invest as well. So you can just continue developing your ideas and go for it. Okay, Mykola, okay, there's a lot of money. I know that you do not own all of the money, but still, what would you do? Okay, money, as that people say, at least in commodity markets right now, that's the money are the commodity. So basically, we know that the collaboration of this consciousness that the venture company can say. It has to produce the talents, or at least to help the talents to understand that they are talents. They have to help the talents to create a company or startup based on what they're doing. So I think that is a high time for us for the elegant solutions. And a lot of people from the Eastern Europe, they will find this idea that the big players are still going to be Horowitz or Sequoia. They already started to work with VC, with venture capital. And you will need to mix up different business models. We have decided that we're going to go to become more studio-based model. We're going to be helping up with the knowledge, and we're going to be offering the talents or the future talents to go through the framework with our guidance. So the collaboration of the second and the fifth points that have to provide the impact for the talents that will be loyal to our fund, and everyone will fight for them then. Okay, thank you. Vitaly, I will comment upon that because I disagree with people. Okay, money has fallen down. The situation is sustainable. But the other problem, talents. Yeah, there is another saying. They say that if you can solve the problem with money, then that's not a problem, that's just costs. So I think the talents are just the same. And the same situation, in Ukraine, we have 250,000 good developers, and we can hire from everywhere: Caucasus, Baltics, India, other countries. If we need more talents, now here already, then we can solve this money with money. Then that's not about problem with the talents, it's about money. So for me, the question of money would be higher there, and the question of talents would be lower, because we have talents. There's a lot of talents. We're training those talents. We're trying to tell the states that we have to train more talents. We can do that. We cannot do that sometimes, but I think we're going in the right direction. That's how I treat this situation. Okay, good. Dmytro, what would you say? What would you say? Everything's good for you all the time? Yes, of course, everything's okay all the time. We have applied out and changed this position a couple of times when we were sitting here. I would put the ecosystem first. Even though, despite the overall trend, why ecosystem? Because in my understanding, ecosystems is about the system of interconnectedness between the talents that are a part of it. So when we're speaking about the systematic competition of the team talents with separate talents, that ecosystems has more chances to win. Then another point, I do agree that talents matter, but I do not see the super big problem with the lack of talents, maybe because of my activities, but I'm on a daily basis, I talk to the multiple amount of talented entrepreneurs. The farther I go, the more I understand that this country is full of talent, so I would actually put the talent slightly lower. The last position for me would be knowledge as just knowledge. Oh, come on. During the times of internet, you can earn whatever knowledge you need. You can get any information you need if you need that. So what are we left with? The ideas. So basically, existing in some certain ecosystem framework, they will have to work out regularly. And there is some money that have to be the fuel for the ecosystem. So I would do that like this: ecosystem, ideas, money, and then I would go for talents and knowledge at the final position. Okay, thank you. Good. So, dear friends, I have lots of questions. The questions are really cool about choosing the company for investment, methodology of investments. Unfortunately, we do not have time to ask these questions here, but I would like to ask you to come up to all of the speakers after the panel. And during the networking session, you can ask those questions personally, because they really need a lot of good answers. Maybe it will take for 15-20 minutes more. I will not be able to ask those questions. Our panel is getting close to the end. I want to give you the traditional final fast question, and I would like to ask you in a really fast way without the commands of the essence of the question. But it will give you again your treatment of that, and will show your choice for some specific aspect and idea. Dmytro, so will be yachting or swimming? Swimming. Okay, Google, Amazon, or Apple. Take one company out of it. Google. Thank you. Dmytro, Zozulia. Food tech or organic? Food tech. Delivery or restaurants? Delivery. Maxim. Horizon of investment, 5 year or 15 years? 3 years. Fame or money? Money. Mykola? Dollars or bitcoins? Bitcoins. Belfast or Tesla? Belfast. Vitaly, specialization or diversification? Specialization. Lviv or Kiev? Kiev. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that, for these fast answers. Thank you very much. We have been at our investment panel, You Tomorrow Summit. Communicate to one another, ask your questions. Thank you for being here.